Welcome to module number 2. In this module, we shall look into some ideas pertaining to applying effective people management. And this would cover learning outcome number 2, understand how to apply effective people management in successful projects. Let's kind of look into what is it that we're going to cover in this module. So these are the learning objectives. We're going to assess whether an approach to leadership and management of teams is appropriate. Number 2, we would assess whether an approach to leadership and management of change within a project and people affected by a project is appropriate. And then we will look into some ideas of application in terms of the approach to communications and people being central to the method. And we apply the key management products required to support the people element of projects. And a couple of approach documents, i.e. comms management approach and change management approach. So these are the learning objectives. Let's kind of briefly look into the context. Now, people are at the center of organizational and project ecosystems. In PRINCE2, people covers those who are working on a project and relationships between them, as well as those impacted by a project. Now, organizations are complex ecosystems of fluctuating relationships, and projects change organizations regardless of whether or not it is their primary purpose. Now, the success of a project will depend on how well the project establishes strong relationships with the organizations that support its delivery, as well as how it fits into the organizational ecosystem to deliver the change. Now, projects combine a unique set of people from across the business, user, and supply communities for a limited period of time. And to successfully deliver the project, all levels of leadership must establish a project culture that motivates people. Now, decisions should be made close to where the relevant knowledge resides. They should be escalated only if there is a need to consider the impact on other parts of the project ecosystem, the organizational ecosystem, or to manage wider political implications. So here we have a figure on the right side, which represents the organizational and project ecosystems. So the green shaded circles are the ecosystems, and slightly darker green intersection between these two circles is the intersection of the project ecosystem and the organized ecosystem. The straight lines are the relationships, and the dotted ones are the people. So when you kind of look into this particular diagram, so we have people in the organizational ecosystem, and we have people in the project ecosystem. Now, a project is a temporary initiative, so we bring in a group of people with a temporary focus to work on the project. At the same time, these temporary relationships, in a way, kind of intertwine with relationships within the organization. So we need to kind of look into people aspect, not only within the context of projects, but also areas of intersection and broader interactions with the organizational ecosystem. Leading successful teams. Now, to successfully lead a project team, it is important to be aware of the following. Although a project manager has formal authority within the tolerances set by the board, the actual power structure that emerges in a project does not always reflect what has been formally agreed. Now, due to the temporary nature of the projects and the multiple reporting lines of people working on the project managers often rely on their ability to influence and motivate people through aligned interests and relational skills, in addition to establishing the shared purpose of the project. Now, PRINCE2 defines roles that might not align with a person's job title. Team members often have competing priorities for their time and attention, which may at times conflict with the needs of the project. It is not unusual for members of the project team to be more senior than the project manager, potentially causing hierarchical tension. Now, some motivational factors may be outside of our project manager's remit. For example, remuneration and career progression of project team members. Now, leading across organizational boundaries, here are a few ideas. Leading people beyond a project's direct authority, often across organizational boundaries, requires a degree of cultural intelligence. Cultural intelligence is a capability to relate and work across cultures within the organizational ecosystem. Successfully working across cultures requires teams to adapt and find ways to successfully interface with each other, setting clear project boundaries within which people can flex, establishing the right conditions for people to succeed, awareness of and means to consider the many different perspectives that may exist in the project. And such awareness is often referred to as emotional intelligence, awareness of the constraints people work within, including different pulls on their time and attention. A little bit about building effective teams. Now, ideally, organizations would select the people needed to fulfill each of the required roles, but this is often not possible. It's important to understand the competencies and capabilities of the people recruited or assigned to a project and ensure any gaps are identified and mitigations established to cover them, such as upskilling or shifting responsibilities for certain tasks to more appropriate people. Now, even when people technically have the same capability and the competencies, they are likely to perform the same role differently. Sometimes the same person may perform differently depending on who they are working with. Now, as temporary organizations, project teams may not have worked together before, and may need to quickly recover or discover how to work together effectively. But it can help accelerate team building by using structured exercises that focus on building not only self awareness and self management, but also an understanding of other perspectives. Now, this can build trust and find compatible ways of working. Now, roles and responsibility should reflect the capability, authority, and availability of the individual undertaking the work and should be considered through the lens of their key relationships. They should be reviewed in the event of any shifts in these key relationships and updated accordingly.